Hi, Veronika.
What is that?
That is shortening. Can you figure out what we're gonna make?
The crust.
Yep, we're making pumpkin pie crust. So we're gonna make a pumpkin pie eventually, but this is for pumpkin pie crust. So this is a really good crust recipe. Pumpkin pie crust, you want it to be flaky when you bite into it, not like hard. Have you ever been into a hard crust?
Then you can't really bite into it.
Yeah.
Because then you're just like, okay, I just need to eat pumpkin.
Yep. Do you know what another mistake is that a lot of people make when they make pie crust?
What?
They make a crust that shrinks from the outside of their pie dish. So they put it in their pie dish, they bake it, and it like shrinks in the middle. So there's a couple things you have to learn so it doesn't shrink, and so you make it nice and flaky. So you ready to learn those tricks? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So we're gonna start with 2 heaping cups flour. So what I mean heaping is you literally scoop it into the flour, and it's like a mini volcano on top of the measuring cup. So this is one that you don't scrape off the top. So this is 2 heaping cups. If I just look at it from the side, it looks to me like it's about 2.5 cups. So go ahead and put that in here. And this is enough to make 2 crusts. So it's either a top and bottom of 1 pie, or 2 pies, which is the bottom. Okay. So this right here is 1 cup shortening. And you're going to mix the shortening and the flour
It's like shaped in a cup because it's
together. Okay, hold on just a minute. Actually, you can add the next ingredient. I want you to add like 2 nice pinches of salt. So not the whole thing, just 2 pinches.
So you can't have a lot of salt, or it's
Yeah, you don't want a lot of salt, or it's not going to taste very good.
and salt is good for you.
That's right. Too much salt is not good for you.
Okay,
Great. All right, so now watch what I'm going to do. So you can either do this with a pastry cutter, which I don't use. I always use my hands because I just think it's fun. So I'm just going to...
yeah, it's like...
Yeah, so I'm basically going to rub this shortening into the flour until it's a little bit crumbly.
Super soft, like my blanket.
Yep, it's super soft. So this is one of the tricks to get your crust so it's nice and flaky, is you got to incorporate the oils into the flour first. Okay, all right, do you see how it's kind of crumbly now? Okay, that's really important. Okay. Good. Okay, go ahead and rub your hands just a little bit so it stays.
Smells good.
Yeah, so go ahead and just rub your hands just a little bit so that way it kind of cleans them off. Okay, now you don't want these big clumps in here, so you just break them up just a little bit. And do you remember how when we make bread, we make a little kind of like a basin in the middle, like a little bowl?
Yeah.
Okay, so leave it like that. I'm going to get some water.
Put it in.
Yep, so we want a 1/2 cup water. So I like to use cold water. My mom, she likes to use boiling hot water. Both works just as well. Okay, I want you your hands out just for a minute so you can watch what I'm going to do here. Because this is the part that some people do wrong. And when I say when they do it wrong, they over mix it. And if they mix it too much, what happens is the crust ends up sinking away. And it's because they've activated too much of that gluten. Okay, so watch this. So here's my 1/2 cup of water. Now I'm not going to touch it for just a minute. Do you see how it's kind of soaking in? Do you see how that water is disappearing?
It's like mud. When you put water in, it doesn't stay for long. Sometimes in movies it does. But
yeah, so I'm actually going to tilt that water just a little bit like that, and see how that water is just soaking in? Okay.
It kind of looks like mud.
The point being is I don't want to mix it too much. And so if I don't want to mix it, I want as much to happen before I literally get in there with my hands and mix it. So I'm just going to very carefully fold these edges over into it.
Can I go wash my hands?
Yep, you can. Because now I'm going to start mixing this just a little. So hurry, because I want you to see that I don't mix it too much.
I can just do it with this water.
And I'm not, nope, I don't want you to do this. And I'm not pushing it very hard because I don't want to activate too much of that gluten again. Because that's what's going to make the crust shrink away.
We don't want it to shrink away, then it's just going to be cake.
Pie crust.
Well, it's just going to be cake. I call it cake because then there's not going to be crust.
So it's starting to hold together. And that's good. That means that it's starting to absorb that liquid. And so now is when I'm really going to not mix it, but I'm going to start pushing it together because when I start to roll it out, I want it to stay together. So I'm just going to push it just enough so I can get it to be a nice ball. And I do want it to be uniform. And it's okay if it looks a little flaky, because I want it to be flaky. Okay, so check it out, Veronika. See how it breaks pretty easily? See that? And as it breaks, you can literally see that if I was to bake it like that, all those little pockets would be individual flakes. So now I'm going to split this in half because we're making 2 crusts with this. And I actually have a bigger pie crust and a smaller pie crust, so I want...
Why are we making 2?
Because this makes 2 pie shells. Okay.
But you can make 1 if you want.
Yeah.
But we make 2 sometimes.
Yep. So I actually want one to be a little bigger than this one because that's a little bit bigger of a pie plate. So once I have this, I'm going to move this out of the way. Okay, watch this next part. It's really kind of fun.
You know.
Okay, are you watching, Veronika? So I do want to play with this. Yes, I'm using the term play. Just for a minute to make sure that it's kind of uniform. But I'm waiting to the very end. Now it's still really light. It's pretty crumbly.
Wait, how heavy is it?
It's not too heavy.
Can I try to pick it up after
So, nope. Okay, all right, I need you to slide back. Okay, this is the fun part. Here's another nice trick. If you use a nice dishcloth and get a pinch of flour onto the dishcloth, shake that around that cloth just a little bit. This is what I like to roll it out on because it will make it transferring to the pie dish really easy. So do you see how flaky that is? Because we're making a flaky crust, we're going to very carefully keep this as much as we can into that nice circle shape.
Like pizza.
Yep.
Making a pizza, but instead it's pie.
See, now some people panic when they start to see that little crack, but for a pie crust, that's what you want. You want it so that way when it bakes, it is going to be flaky. So, the slower the process of getting your shape, the better your crust. And I have that little crack right there. I'm just going to kind of fix that. See that? Another trick is when you roll, you apply a little bit of pressure in the middle. More pressure when you get to, so some pressure in the very center, a little lighter pressure here, and no pressure when you get to the outside edge of the crust. So if you notice, I don't roll all the way to the edge, I push and release, push, release.
Oh yeah, you're not doing like,
Push, release. And that's going to keep it so that way it holds its shape. It's also going to prevent the outside of the crust from cracking too much. Now I'm almost to the size that I want this, so I'm just going to fix the outside really fast again.
Aren't you watching the movie?
Okay, now I'm going to check the size. Here's my pie plate. I want it just a little bit bigger than my pie plate. Now here's the fun trick. Are you ready for this?
Yeah.
Since I rolled it on this, I'm going to put my hand right in the middle, fold it on top of itself, fold it on top of itself again, and now I can easily pick this up and transfer it and carefully open this up into...
Oh yeah, you just open it up
Yep.
and then you just...
And be very careful. Now, the other thing I don't want people to do is to push the crust into your tin, okay? So you just kind of slide it, I'm not pushing, and I'm also going to pick up the edges and gradually let them fall into the middle, okay? Now, if it's not covering the outside edge, it's not such a big deal yet, because watch what we're going to do next. We're going to pinch